Talk about the Gucci goddess. She was a financial manager for the U.S. Army. So without telling her employer, she incorporates a fake children's charity and awards herself an Army contract. The Army contract was for positive youth development for military-dependent children to engage in intentional learning experiences. Approved. U.S. Army approves this children's charity that has that as their mission and description. Totally fake nonprofit. Does absolutely nothing for children. 7-year period. She steals $108 million from you and I, the taxpayer. All of it goes into her pocket. Not a dime of that money goes to the kids. It's all going into her bank accounts. She spends the money. 31 different homes in Colorado, Maryland, New Mexico, Texas, and Washington. She bought 80 motor vehicles, and the packages were arriving every day from high-end retailers. The UPS guy is the one who gave her the nickname, the Gucci Goddess, because they were constantly delivering these high-end items to this McMansion that she bought. The Army eventually learns of this fraud. She pleads guilty to tax evasion and mail fraud charges. Matt Cox, what do you give the Gucci Goddess?
15 years.
Damn, you're good.
How much?
15 years.
Boom! Ooh, got your ass. Scary as hell, man.
I really know if this is my last time, but what I know is I'm feeling just fine. My life is like a rap carpet, and I'm feeling like the richest millionaire. This is my local mayor, and I'm the biggest star around here. What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Subscribe or die trying. You see the thumbnail. More importantly, you saw the links. This is why DOGE exists. Now, I'm not going to say like it's going to be the best thing since sliced bread, but that clip is old. I remember that happened a year, 2 years, it was a few years ago. And what's interesting is it was normal. Like, people forget how many scandals you've had with the government and money and government employees and money. People forget about that. That goes all, let's just say this, in some people's lifetime, a young adult lifetime, Eric Snowden is a thing. You get what I'm saying? So this idea that, we don't need to make the government efficient, that's a lie. It's just people don't feel like the people who are in charge of making it efficient are going to make it efficient, which is the problem in the first place. Because it never dawns on you why that level of fraud can go on for 7 years and $108 million. Because there's a whole lot of other people doing a lot worse. That's why. That's why they ain't even catching up to it. Because we do this, I'm not part of we, but, you get those people in government, they do this all the time. They made a movie about something similar with Jonah Hill when they were doing the gun running. We're going to have a government contract. We're going to sell arms at the lowest price and make hundreds of millions of dollars. Y'all never actually question how some of the wealth in America is generated. I know y'all like looking at the sports and entertainment and go, that's where the money's coming from. Sometimes you look at business, but a lot of the times, or Wall Street, but a lot of the times you skip over the whole government process of how do these people have so much money? Because they're just writing themselves into something. Y'all never considered why those, bills are so long when they send them to Congress? Y'all never consider how many people getting kickbacks and how many people are making money off things? People like to keep bringing up like Nancy Pelosi and, and her being a multi-millionaire, and people are trying to figure out how, like, she's the only one. But they go to insider trading. Well, okay, fine. You think she's the biggest person that you know, but is she the only one? Absolutely not. This is what goes on. And to take a step further, here's an interesting thing. When people make these political debates about, we're just throwing money at a problem, this is that. You're thinking people are saying, because people are blindly going, we shouldn't invest in the poor or the blacks or the children. We can't just keep throwing money at a problem. You're not throwing money at the problem. You're throwing money at the people who say they're in charge of fixing the problem, and they're running off becoming multimillionaires and never fixing a thing. It's the same thing with charities. You donate to a charity, they only gotta give like 5 or 10% to the actual cause. Everything else, they can do whatever they want with it. So, is this a problem? Absolutely. Is this normal though? Absolutely. That's what's worse about this situation. This is a normal occurrence. This is just one that they got on social media. You don't think about all the hundreds, thousands of situations they've had in the last, we can go 10 years, but we can go further, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. You got to think about it. You actually have to think about it. People put themselves in a government position, give themselves a government contract, ride off into the sunset with the bank robbery money and move on like nothing ever happened. That's what goes on. And you're trying to figure out, why the country is the way it is. Come on now. You see it online now when you hear the Chinese people talking about the luxury market and just products in general. Like, this is what we make it for, and this is what you Americans wind up buying it for. Same thing. Same thing. Somebody in the U.S. decided they was going to be greedy, and they never thought it was going to come out to the light. They figured, who would ever know? This is not necessarily a victimless crime, but I'm with all the other criminals doing this, and nobody else can be the wiser. And the problem is, people have this thing where how can I say this? They think the United States government, and even, and let's just do it in a subconscious way, they actually think white people are on top of things. They're only on top of things if black people are doing it. If everybody else is doing it, they're not paying attention. That's how this normally goes. They're not dotting their I's and crossing their T's when it's somebody white, when it's somebody Asian, when it's somebody Hispanic. They're not doing that. If you're black, if you're Muslim, you know, it, I can't say Native American. I would love to, but I don't think they're in enough positions to even get looked at. But I would suspect if you was a Native American, and a Native American that actually was a Native American and not a $5 Indian, they'd be watched. Everybody else got free reign. And people go, how could this happen? It's the government, the country, and people are how can I say this, scamming, and they're wasting taxpayer dollars. Yes, a lot of taxpayer dollars getting wasted, a whole lot, and that ain't gonna change. And the reason it ain't gonna change is because who's gonna ask the questions? Seriously, think about it. Who's gonna ask the questions? Who's clearing this stuff? Who's going, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Nobody's actually digging into the information. Even in the information age, people aren't paying attention to the information. And this happens in government. And people could go, hey, man, they probably slid between the cracks. Oh, okay. Here's an interesting thing. Look at any one of your, because some of you, we like to use entertainment as a reference, because art represents life, right? Look at all of the government, military esque, CIA, FBI type movies and shows you ever came across. And you're going to normally see somebody make some phone calls and have a budget for absolutely nothing. You're going to see somebody who used to work for the government and has a nice little house with all these, secret little things. And then you're like, wait, God, where can you afford that on that salary? Because, fool, people are taking jobs out here. This is bank. As long as you work for the government and it's not bank robbery, it's government robbery. And since everybody else is doing it, and I shouldn't say everybody, but it's so rampant that you got to have a thing like DOGE. And the hypocrisy of DOGE is what? People think that DOGE is going to be part of robbing it too. So, because I forgot the senator's name, because I did a video about him. He was even saying, the math is off. Like, we can't keep doing what we're doing. And the reason why we have the deficit we have and all these issues we have is because of all of this financial robbery that we like to act like it's incompetence. No, it's not incompetence. It's people just, saying, hey, man, I can get away with this. And I'm going to do it. Like, she's one of the few that went to jail. Everybody else is free. But tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Peace.
All I ask is when you lay your head on that pillow at night, I gave you everything I had.